Hi guys, welcome to Asana. Today we've got a half-hour hip opener for you. It's a Vinyasa flow, but we'll be getting into those hips. It'll be a lot of fun. So make sure you have your water nearby and we'll get into it. Let's go. All right, let's take a seat in the middle of the mats. Bend the knees and then open them out to each side and bring the soles of the feet together. Then walk those soles of the feet in a little bit closer towards your midline. So you have kind of a butterfly pose, Baddha Konasana. So we've got like a diamond shape going on here with our legs. And if you want, you can grab your feet with your hands and use your elbows to push those knees down, opening them up a little bit more. Try to keep your back long here. So think of lengthening through that tailbone up to the crown, as if you're being pulled by a string from the ceiling. And if you found that length, then you can afford to push the knees further down with your elbows and maybe bow a little bit with your back. But again, try to keep the length in your back as you're coming down. So you're not rounding over, but rather you're keeping this length. You can see the difference here. Here's length, here's rounding. Find length and then come down a little bit further with that length. Just breathe. And for the rest of practice, if you can inhale and exhale through your nose, really long, deep, slow breaths, that will help you with your practice and help you with your focus. You can always return to focusing on that breath whenever you're feeling any tension or any distraction. Just let it ground you. Take one more breath here. And then at the exhale, I want you to simply extend both of your legs out to each side. So keeping your thighs where they are, but now bringing the shins to match. So now they're pointing out diagonally, maybe a little wider, maybe a little less wide. Just find that shape. Upavista Konasana. We're just going to stay here for a moment. Find the length in your spine first and make sure your kneecaps and your feet are pointed up at the ceiling. So we're externally rotating our legs at the hips. So once you've found the length and you've stayed here a few breaths and you feel comfortable, you can play around with whether or not you want to walk your hands a little further forward. And just like in Baddha Konasana, keeping the length in your spine as you bow a little more. Now, because in Baddha Konasana our knees are where they are, we have that external hip rotation, there's really no availability for us to internally rotate there or go in the wrong direction. But here, it's easy for us to actually let our knees just kind of slope inward. We want to avoid that. We want to keep the external rotation. So if you find your knees sloping inward or your feet sloping inward, please just walk back out of the pose and try to find that external rotation. If it helps, you can keep your hands on the insides of your calves, or even if you can touch the insides of your feet, you can keep them there. You can even keep them on the insides of your thighs here and stay uplifted. But it's really important to keep the external rotation going before you go down further. Otherwise, you're going to be working the pose in the wrong way and not getting the benefit of the pose. Let's take a couple more breaths here. Then on your next inhale, slowly walk your hands back to center if they have been outstretched, or if you're on the inside of your legs, walk your hands back to center wherever they are. Grab the undersides of your knees and pick your knees up, bending them, and then just bring them in. And now from here, I want you to grab the fronts of your knees with your hands. You have a nice bend in your knees here. Your knees are pointed at the ceiling, soles of feet are on the mat. Inhale, I want you to pull your chest towards your thighs and lift your gaze a little bit, finding a slight back bend here for a seated cow pose. Then exhale, holding onto your knees, round your spine backward, tuck your chin, and let yourself almost fall backward, but you're not going to fall because you have your hands on your knees. This is our seated cat. Inhale for seated cow, pulling that chest forward, slightly gazing up, bringing that chest to the knees. Exhale for cat, rounding the spine, tucking the chin into your chest, looking down at the navel. Inhale, seated cow, pull yourself forward. Exhale, seated cat, round your spine back. Inhale for seated cow, pulling forward. Exhale for seated cat, rounding back. One more inhale, pulling yourself forward, seated cow. Then exhale, rounding your spine back for cat. Come to neutral. Simply allow your knees to drape over to the right and then push up onto your hands and knees, coming into tabletop. Inhale as you bring your right foot forward next to your right thumb. Then bring your torso up and lift your arms. Anjaneyasana. Try to have a wrapping in feeling here of both of your femur bones coming up and into the midline. Use your core. And then bring your hands down to the mat. I want you to slide that back knee a little further behind you to find an easy version of lizard. We're not going to come all the way into this yet. We still have our right hand to the outside of our right knee, but we're just feeling a little bit deeper into our hips. All right, now pushing into the mat with your hands, I want you to drag that back knee in towards your midline so you can come back into Anjaneyasana. Keeping the hands down on the mat, simply lift up the right foot and step the right knee back next to the left, coming back into tabletop. Let's do the other side. Inhale as you lift your left knee up and bring the left foot on the inside of the left hand. Lift up your torso, raise your arms. Feel the hugging and the wrapping, engage your core here. Then release your hands down to the mat, framing the left foot. Keep your hands on the mat. Simply slide the right knee a little further back on the mat. Feel a little opening in your hip. Breathe. Keeping our hands framing that left foot. Now push your hands into the mat so you can drag the right knee forward, coming back into Anjaneyasana with our hands down, and then push the mat away so you can lift the left foot up and drag the left knee back next to the right, finding tabletop. Good. Tuck your toes under and lift your kneecaps, then send your hips up and back, coming into down dog. Walk your dog by bending one knee at a time, straightening the other leg, stretching through the hamstrings. Make sure you're really pushing the mat away here with your hands. Soft neck, let your head hang heavy. Inhale as you straighten your legs. Try to really release those heels down towards the mat, but push the mat away with your hands at the same time. Maybe finding a deeper upside down V shape with your body. Exhale. Inhale as you shift your weight forward, bringing the shoulders over your wrists. High plank pose. Hold your plank on your inhale. Exhale, lower your knees, and then chaturanga. Come all the way down to the mat. Release your feet and release your arms by your sides, palms face down. Inhale, lift your head, your heart, your shoulders. Cobra pose. Exhale, release your head to the mat. Let's take that again. Inhale, lift your head, your heart, your shoulders. Maybe lift your hands up. Exhale, lower. One more time. Inhale, lift your head, your heart, your shoulders. Look up, look forward, maybe lift the hands. Stay here and breathe. If you want, maybe lift the feet up, the kneecaps and the thighs. And lower to the mat. Good. Bring your hands beside your chest. Fingertips are right under the shoulders. And then push the mat away, coming either through tabletop or straight up to plank. Then send the hips up and back for down dog. Inhale as you lift the heels, bend the knees, look forward. Step or hop to the top of the mat in between your hands. Forward fold. Inhale, lift halfway up with a flat back, looking forward, elongating your spine. Then exhale, fold forward again. Now bend your knees. Plant your palms firmly on the mat in front of you. And then step your right foot to the outside of your right hand and step your left foot to the outside of your left hand. Turn all 10 toes outward, externally rotating here. Then sit your hips back and down, coming down as low as feels good in your body, and bring your hands to heart center with the knees pushing away from the inside of your body by the use of your elbows. Gaze is forward. Try to keep that chest lifted. This is our Malasana yogi squat position. It gets deep into the hips. Take another breath here. And then release your hands onto the mat in front of you as you shift your weight forward. Then you can straighten your legs out and heel toe the feet back into hips width distance. Then slowly roll up to standing, one vertebra at a time, starting from bottom to top. And release your arms by your sides. Tadasana, mountain pose. Take a breath. Inhale, bring your arms overhead. Exhale, swing your arms down and cross the right arm under the left. Then bend at the elbows and bring the fronts of the hands together, or cross one more time at the wrists, finding eagle arms. Then sit your hips back and down. Shift your weight into your left leg as you cross your right leg up and over your left leg, finding eagle legs. So now we're in Garudasana, eagle chair pose. Take a breath. Try to keep your hips facing forward. The tendency might be for the hips to turn to the side of the standing leg. So you want to try to correct that by facing them forward. Keep the weight distributed into the back of the standing heel. Take another breath here. And then on your exhale, untwist and bring your arms overhead. Inhale and exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, plant your palms, step to the back of the mat, high plank pose, top of a push-up. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra or up dog. Exhale, shift your hips up and back, coming into down dog. Inhale, lift your right leg up behind you. Bend the right knee and then turn that right knee up towards the ceiling so you're opening the right hip. Just breathe into that pose. Make sure you're not opening the chest here. The chest is still facing the mat. You're only opening at the hips. Take one more breath. Then on your next inhale, square off your hips. Keep the right leg lifted. The right knee is still bent. And then bring that right knee in towards your nose. And step the right foot through in between your hands. Inhale as you rise your torso up, lift your arms, coming into crescent pose. Take another breath here. And on your next exhale, release your left heel down onto the mat, opening up to the left. Bring your arms to a T, warrior two. Look down at your legs. Check to see if you have heel to arch alignment with your feet. So the right heel is in line with the left arch. Make sure as well that the bent knee is pointed towards the outside of that foot, not at the big toe. Take another breath here. Then inhale as you straighten the right leg. Turn the right toes to face that left wall that the rest of your body is facing. Take an inhale as you lengthen your spine, and then exhale, fold forward with straight legs. Prasarita Padottanasana, wide leg forward fold. Bring your hands to the mat right under your face and push the mat away with both hands. Then lift your right arm to the sky, twisting your torso to the right. Then release the right arm down and lift the left arm for a twist. Good. Release the left hand. Walk those hands back in between your legs and try to bring the forehead closer to the mat as you keep the weight shifted forward in the balls of your feet. Now walk your hands forward so they're underneath your face again. Push the mat away and lengthen your spine. Then bring your hands to your hips, and on your inhale, lift your torso up. Turn all 10 toes outward, externally rotating at our hips. Inhale here, and exhale, squat. Hips go down and back. This low temple squat, or goddess. Inhale, bring your arms overhead. Exhale, release your right hand onto your right knee, and try to pull your left arm up and over to the right, finding some lateral flexion here. Inhale, come back to center. Right arm lifts. Release your left hand down onto your left leg and pull that right arm up and over to the left. Lateral flexion on the other side. Come back to center. Both arms come overhead. Inhale. Sink a little bit lower. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, rise up, straightening those legs. Turn the toes in, then turn the heels in. We're basically heel toeing our feet in a little bit closer. Make sure now that your heels are a little bit wider than your hips. All right, bring your hands to heart center. Squat down, toes are pointed out. Come down to Malasana, yogi squat. Good. Breathe. All right, keeping your chest lifted, hands are at heart center. Try to keep your left hand at your heart center and just extend your right arm down in front of your right knee. Then open your left arm to the sky, twisting your torso. And come back to center, untwist, both hands at heart center. Now this time, try to keep your right hand at heart center. Extend your left hand down towards the mat in front of your left knee. And open then the right arm to the sky. Come back to center. Push your hands into the mat as you shift your weight forward. Then extend your left leg out to the side, finding a low lunge on the right, Skandasana. You can be as low or as high as you want here. You don't have to be as low as I am. You can be a lot higher. But try to get your right knee opening out to the right and the left leg is extended. Then bring your hands in front of heart center. Good. Now plant your palms into the mat, shifting the weight forward, bringing the sole of the left foot onto the mat. Walk your hands towards the front of the room, so around that bent right leg. Then try to even out your feet so you have like a nice low lunge here. Coming into crescent pose. Inhale, lift your arms overhead. Find crescent again. So back leg is straight. You're on the ball of your left foot. Right knee is bent. Continue to breathe. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. Exhale, bring your hands down to the mat, framing your right foot. Step the back foot in a little bit. Try to shift all your weight forward into your right leg and then straighten the right leg as you lift the left leg up behind you, keeping the hips square, finding standing splits. Flex that lifted foot. Then plant your right palm onto the mat in front of your right foot and turn your left toes out to the left side of the room and extend your left arm up towards the ceiling, finding half moon. You can always bend the standing leg here if you need more support. It'll allow you to reach further down onto the mat and hold yourself steady. Okay, release your left hand onto the mat, square off your hips. Step your left foot to the back of the mat, then step your right foot to the back of the mat. Inhale, hold your plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra or up dog. Exhale, shift your hips up and back. Down dog. Take a breath. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale, lift your left leg up behind you. Bend the left knee and turn that left knee up towards the ceiling, opening the left hip. Remember to keep your torso square to the floor here. So torso hasn't moved. Push the mat away with your hands. Breathe into the hip. Just hang out here for another breath. On your next inhale, square off your hips. Left knee is still lifted. And then bring that left knee in towards your nose and step it in between your hands for your low crescent lunge. On your inhale, lift your torso, raise your arms. Good, just breathe into your crescent lunge. Find that nice stacking of the left knee over the left ankle. On your next exhale, open up to warrior two, releasing the right heel onto the mat. Cartwheeling, the arms open to a T. Check your feet for heel to arch alignment. Back foot should be parallel to the short edge of the mat. And that bent left knee should be stacking over the left ankle and pointed towards the outer edge of your left foot. Continue to breathe. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, straighten your left leg. Turn your left toes forward towards the right where the rest of your body is facing. Find this wide leg position as you inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, bow forward. Bring your hands down to the mat. Good. Push the mat away. so that your hands are right under your face, getting a long spine here. And then lift your left arm to the sky, twisting your torso towards the left, finding that openness. And then release the left hand down to the mat. Push it away with the left hand and raise the right arm to the ceiling. Good. Bring your right hand down to the mat. Walk both hands back in between your feet, trying to bring your forehead closer to the floor here. Keep the weight shifting forward, stretching those hamstrings. All right, walk the hands forward, push the mat away, get a long spine, and then bring your hands to your hips. Inhale as you bring your torso up. Turn all 10 toes outward, externally rotating at our hips here. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, sit your hips down deep into that wide-legged squat, yogi, squat, temple, or goddess. Inhale, bring your arms overhead. Exhale, release your left hand onto your left leg. And then start to stretch your right arm up and over to the left, finding lateral flexion. Come back to center. Both arms come up. Release the right hand onto the right leg and try to reach that left arm up and over to the right. Lateral flexion on the other side. Good. Come back to center. Both arms lift. Try to squat down a little further and hold. Then inhale as you straighten your legs and release your arms down by your sides. Okay, walk those feet in a little bit. Heel toe them in so that the feet are pointed outward and the heels are a little wider than your hips. Bring your hands to heart center and then squat deeply. Bring those hips back and down, bringing those elbows on the insides of your knees, finding Malasana. Keep that spine long, as if a string is pulling you up from the crown of your head. All right, keep your right hand where it is and release your left arm down in front of your left leg. And now reach your right arm to the sky, opening up for a twist. All right, both hands back in front of heart center. Keep your left hand where it is. Reach your right arm down in front of your right knee. And then open that left arm to the ceiling. Good. Bring both hands back to heart center. Take a breath. Place your hands down on the mat and shift your weight forward into your hands as you then extend your right leg out to the right side of the mat, finding this low side lunge, Skandasana. Try to bring your hands to heart center. Try to keep your chest lifted here. Take another breath. And then place both hands on the mat in front of you, shifting the weight into those hands. Start to turn towards the front of the mat, walking your hands around in front of your left leg. Find low crescent lunge. Breathe here. Find your stability, then lift your torso and raise your arms. So right leg is straight, you're on the ball of the right foot, left knee is bent, left knee trying to stack over that left ankle. Release your hands down to the mat, framing the left foot. Really push the weight into your left foot and into your hands as you lift that right leg up off the mat behind you, squaring off those hips, trying to keep the right leg parallel to the mat for standing splits. On your next inhale, walk your hands out in front of you so that your left palm is planted on the mat a little bit forward of your left foot. Then turn your right toes out to the right, opening the hip to the right, and extend your right arm up to the ceiling for half moon. Take one more breath. Then release your right hand to the mat, square off those hips. Press the mat away with your hands as you bend your left knee, step your right foot to the back of the mat. Then step your left foot to the back of the mat. Hold your plank on your inhale. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra or up dog. Exhale, hips go up and back, down dog. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, bend your knees, look forward, step or hop to the top of the mat in between your hands, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise to stand with a flat back, arms come overhead. Exhale, arms come by your sides. So we started that sequence with one side of eagle chair. We're going to finish with the other side of eagle chair. Inhale, bring your arms overhead. Exhale, release your arms as you cross the left arm under the right. Then bend both elbows, fronts of hands come together, or cross one more time at your wrists. Find eagle arms. Lengthen your spine, then sit your hips back and down, finding chair. Really push that weight into the right leg as you lift the left leg up, crossing the left knee over the right, maybe crossing again at the shins with your left foot. Breathe into your eagle chair. Remember to square off those hips. Find your balance. One more inhale. Exhale, release the cross, bring your arms overhead. Then exhale, I want you to stay here, but sit your hips back and out into regular chair. Come up onto your toes, then lower a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more until you're really on your heels with your hips. Heels are lifted, and now all you have to do is release your heels onto the mat, your hips will release, and you will find yourself in a seated position. So, roll back down onto the mat with your backs. Keep your knees as they are. Soles of the feet are on the mat, knees are bent. All right, knees can be hips width distance here, or if you want to try a little more challenging, then bring the knees together and the feet together. All right, inhale, start to peel your hips up, the bottom of your back up, the mid back up, coming into bridge. When you're here, make sure your knees are stacking right above your ankles. Now open your knees to the sides. So you're finding that butterfly position with your legs here. Kind of a diamond shape. So knees go outward to either side. Hold it. Then inhale as you bring your knees back together and exhale, roll down. We're going to do that again, but a little faster. Inhale, lift your hips up. Exhale, open your knees. Inhale, bring the knees together. Exhale, lower your hips down to the mat. Inhale, lift your hips. Exhale, open the knees. Inhale, bring the knees together. Exhale, lower the hips onto the mat. Inhale, lift the hips. Exhale, open the knees. Inhale, close the knees. Exhale, lower to the mat. Inhale, lift the hips. Exhale, open the knees. Inhale, close the knees. Exhale, lower the hips. One more. Inhale, lift the hips up. Exhale, open the knees. Inhale, close the knees. And exhale, lower down. Bring your knees into your chest. Give them a squeeze. Good. Rock up to a seated position. So grab under your knees and find a little bit of a rock. Come up to a seat. Extend your legs long on the mat here. Find Dandasana, staff pose. Legs are active, feet are flexed. Spine is long. Inhale, bring your arms overhead. Exhale, hinge and fold forward over your legs, but keep your spine long as you're folding. So find the length. Instead of rounding, find length and then come more forward. Lengthen and then bow. Lengthen and bow. It's like you're trying to bow with as flat of a back as you can. And then when you've bowed as far as you can with your flat back, and if you're pretty far and your hands are on your feet, then you can afford to round your spine a little bit and get your head down onto your shins. Inhale, come up. Bend your right knee and open it out to the right. Plant the sole of the right foot on the inside of the left thigh. Turn your torso slightly so it's facing over the extended left leg. Lift your arms up And then bow over your extended left leg, trying to reach the toes, maybe wrapping your hands around the bottom of the foot, maybe bending your elbows to bring them closer to the mat. Janu Shirsasana, head to knee pose. Take another breath. And then on your inhale, walk your hands back towards your midline, lift your torso up. Extend your right leg out, bend your left knee, open the left knee to the left as you plant the sole of the left foot on the inside of the right thigh, lift your torso, raise your arms, and then exhale, bow forward over that extended right leg. Make sure if you had to minutely turn to the right that you've done so you're right over that right leg. Maybe grabbing the bottom of the foot, maybe just touching the toes or just touching your calf, just walking your hands out beside your leg. On your next inhale, start to walk your hands back towards your midline to lift your torso. Extend both legs out towards the front. All right, bend your right knee. Keep the sole of the right foot on the mat here and kind of shimmy your torso down in the inside of your right bent knee. You can just stay here and just work on walking your hands forward on the outside, either side of your extended left leg, or you can reach around the outside of your right leg with your arm and try to reach back with your left hand to grab your right hand and maybe find a little stretch here. Maybe lift your torso up. All right, release the bind if you have it, or crawl back up if you have reached forward. Extend your right leg, bend your left knee, shimmy your torso onto the inside of your left knee. Either walk your hands on either side of your right foot and kind of walk downward to kind of find a stretch here, or reach your left arm around the outside of your left knee and then reach back with your right arm and try to bind these hands together and then lift your torso up. Release the bind and walk your hands back if you've walked them forward. And then slowly roll your back down onto the mat. Bend your right knee in toward your chest. Grab the outside of the right knee with your left hand. Extend your right arm long on the mat. And then pull your right knee across your body to the left to find a spinal twist. Try to melt your right shoulder blade down here. You can always cactus your arms or goalpost them if you don't have enough space, bending at your right elbow, finding a 90-degree angle with the right arm. Come back to center, untwist your body, lengthen the right leg, bring the left knee into your chest and grab the outside of the left knee with your right hand. Extend the left arm to your side in a T or a goalpost, and then pull the left knee across your body to the right, finding the spinal twist on the other side. Come back to center. Untwist your body and release both feet long on the mat. Legs are long. Straighten those legs out. Release the arms by your sides. Palms face the ceiling. Relax and let go as you simply find your final resting pose, Shavasana. Then slowly start to find some awareness. Come back into your body. Maybe reach up overhead. And then make your way into a seated position. Keep your eyes closed. Inhale as you bring your arms overhead. Palms come to touch. Hands come down in front of heart center. Thank you so much for practicing with us today. Namaste.